Welcome to Iowa for the second round of the All-Out eSports Super Late Model Series here on ESPN. My name is Sam Cooper Bennett, joined in the booth as always by Tyler Vickery. Gonna be a great race here tonight. Looking forward to another 100 laps around here. And before I get started, I just want to apologize for last week's missed broadcast. Internet issues curtailing that one. But for now, we are here for some good racing. And Tyler, we're going to bring you in here. We've got the second round here. You actually watched the first round. What can you expect in this one compared to last week?
Some really good racing. First round one was really good. I was impressed with it. I had some really great battles overall. I'm actually really curious to see how this race goes, because this was their preseason race 2 weeks ago, and that was a absolute awesome showcase that they had. So I'm really looking forward to this. And right now in practice, a lot of the times are really close. So I'm expecting it to be the same again, and might have a really great battle with, especially with Scott Formosa and Robert Barber again, like we did in the preseason.
Yeah, fantastic racing we had last time. Remember Lewis Robinette? He was one of the people up there as well. Got some new names in the field. Obviously, we didn't broadcast this one last week, so unfortunately we didn't get to see the new names. And Alexander Pelican and Corbin Balk. I heard Corbin Balk had a pretty good race last week.
Yeah, he had a good race. I think he had an unfortunate incident in the last one. I'll have to double check, but he was dominant most of the race, holding up in the top three, and then I believe he just made one little mistake, and it cost him a chance at fighting for the victory. I'll have to double check the results if I can find it, but it was a awesome race, and I mean, these guys were just fighting back and forth, and just it seemed like one little mistake by someone was really hurting them.
Yeah, as we go down to the track now, we're just looking at the number 13 of Caleb Ramsey circulating around the track. We are in qualifying right now, so the drivers just putting their best times in and seeing where they can be for the start of this 100 lapper here at Iowa. And just a bit of information about this track. 0.8 of a mile. This track's just under 1 mile, so not quite normal track size, but still short enough to go around twice once we do go to green. Zach Coyer taking over the pole, and just almost immediately Robert Barber going to the top of the board. Scott Formosa straight to the top, so time's coming in thick and fast there, Tyler.
Yeah, and we're already seeing some close times. I mean, from top to bottom, 6/10 of a second, so it could be a lot. Could end up dropping even further, especially depending on what Jonathan Smith, Preston Boers, and Corbin Balk.
Yeah, as Jonathan Smith yet to take the track right now, as Scott Formosa has finished his qualifying run. Same for Robert Barber, I believe he's finished his. Michael Whiting, he's another new, well, he's not a new name we've seen on the track. Let's go take a look at Corbin Balk as he's just coming across the line now to start his qualifying run. So let's see where this one puts him. As he comes out of turn 2, down towards the backstretch. And if I remember rightly, when we were last here, it wasn't this dark. I think it was kind of sunset situation last time, right?
Yeah, I believe there is a little bit of daylight out, but so track's gonna be a little bit cooler. As well, Preston just jumps right up to the top.
15 1/1000 of a second separating Preston Boers and Scott Formosa, as Boers has finished his qualifying run. Let's take a look at Jonathan Smith as he is on his run now with just over 2 minutes left in qualifying. So everybody's going to finish their runs very quickly here, as Balk is going to have to settle for P6 as Jonathan Smith starts his timed run now as he comes flying out of turn 2. I remember the last time we watched Jonathan Smith, he had one hell of a race last time, but unfortunately fell back late in the event. But he's here now. Let's see what he can do this time as he comes out of turn 4. Very high against the wall. down across the line, and it's a 22.556, and that's going to be good enough for P8. Let's see what he can do on his second lap now here, Tyler.
Yeah, Baz Smith right now, 22.55 that first lap. Could be looks like he's keeping it tight coming out of 3 and 4. Might be another good lap here. We'll see where he jumps up to.
22.535, and that's moved up to 7th ahead of Caleb Ramsey.
Only one spot he moved up, so wasn't as much as I thought, but I mean, still though, top to bottom, you got 0.3 of a second difference, so very close field though.
Absolutely, as that is your field set for this one. On the left-hand side of your screen, Preston Bors currently sitting on the pole with Scott Formosa, Robert Barber, Michael Whiting, and Austin Victory rounding out your top 5. It's a good qualifying result for Victory because you usually see him near the back of the field. Of the new drivers, Corbin Bulk is in P6 and Alexander Pelican is in P9. Eddie Taylor, Lewis Robinette is P11. Zach Coyer rounding out your field. Zach Coyer is usually pretty fast around here, and shocking to see him propping up the field like that, Tyler.
Absolutely, and just seems like Coyer had some issues. But he's usually running a little bit better in the race. So we'll see how his race pace is. See if maybe he can improve from.
Yep, as we've got just over 20 seconds left in qualifying. So we're ready to go racing here at Iowa Speedway. My God, I've got a chest infection, guys, so just bear with me. So,
Yikes, that's rough.
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm a big boy. I can deal with it. As that is qualifying over and done with, we are going to go straight to the grid now. And this is your grid for tonight's 100 lap race. And starting up on the pole will be one Mr. Preston Bors, an impressive 22.368, giving him the pole here just ahead of Scott Formosa, who rounds out row 1 here. Row 2 will be Robert Barber and Michael Whiting. Row 3 will be Austin Victory and Corbin Bulk. Watch for Corbin Bulk. He's proven to be pretty fast so far here this season. Jonathan Smith and Caleb Ramsey make up row 4, as Alexander Pelican and Eddie Taylor make up row 5. Rounding out your field of 12 drivers will be Lewis Robinette and Zach Coyer. So just a couple of things to point out in this one. They are not allowed to change tyres at any point in the race. Although they said that last time, but they still changed tyres anyway. Not sure why. As last time we were at Iowa, they changed tyres. I don't know.
Yeah, just how things are, and Robert seems and be cracking down on it. That if he sees the cars like jack up in any way, that he'll automatically assume they're changing tires, whether or not if it's up for a split second or.
Yeah, so no fast repairs in this one either. So if they wreck the car, then that will be it for them. And also, the other thing is, if they cause a wreck, they will be put to the back of the field. So a few different rules there for these guys as we are just about ready to start rolling here. As we look from the chopper cam here right now, as there goes the pace car and the field rolling down a pit road here, Tyler.
Yeah, that was a 100-lap race. These guys in the preseason, there was really good racing at the start, and then I'd say about 30 minutes in, we started getting some cautions. They were about halfway when we started having some cautions, but man, they were having some really good runs, though.
Yeah, and hopefully we can have the same good run here tonight. We are live here on ESPN, just on Facebook, not on YouTube. Just a few technical glitches that are preventing us from broadcasting on both at the moment. We should have that back within the next week or so. So make sure you just hold on tight. We will have dual broadcasting back available soon enough. As they come across the line, they have to go around one more time. Remember, this is less than a mile, so it is classified as a short track, unlike tracks like New Hampshire, who just snuck over the 1 mile barrier and are classed as a normal track these days. Although it looks like a short track, I still think New Hampshire's a short track.
Yeah, it's like a yes and no. It's just because of how the track's all made. It feels like a short track, but even though it's a much longer track.
Yeah. So lap times are going to be a bit longer around here. It's going to be it's one of the bigger short tracks that we're going to go to this season. In the second half of the season, we are going to go to the much shorter tracks, but for now we're going to stay on the bigger ones, and we're even going to see a couple of road courses, so make sure you're tuned in for that one later in the season as the pace car is ready to peel off into pit road. There goes the pace car. Preston Bowes has control of the field. And green flag in the air. 100 laps are underway here at Iowa. And already Robert Barber looking to the inside of Scott Formosa going into turn 1. This could make things very interesting here as we get going here, Tyler.
Absolutely. We're 3 wide already for, looks like the 5th, as they're just battling it out already. Almost had a little bit of contact there with the 13 of Caleb Ramsey, but great side-by-side action. So
yeah, it's Alexander Pelican in a 3 wide situation back there in the number 25 in the middle. That's Caleb Ramsey on the outside. That is the 31 of Zach Coyer making his way from the field already. As he's looking to the inside of Caleb Ramsey, just behind Michael Whiting. And I did say watch for Corbin Bulk, already on the move here. He's already up to P4 here, Tyler. He's definitely someone we've got to keep an eye on as this race goes along.
Absolutely, and even Zach Coyer, he's already moved up from 12th to 10th, so he's trying to make a run too. As we got 3 wide further back again. It looked like that was for 8th. As boy, everyone's dicing it up already. So great run so far already. 3 laps.
Oh, problems for Eddie Taylor at the back there. He just got it on the apron, almost spun it around. We've got a new leader here though, Tyler. Robert Barber has taken the lead and is already half a second up the road. Good start for the number 8 here as Preston Bowes just struggling to cope with him in the race conditions here now.
Yeah, and this is the same scenario that Robert Barber had at Iowa 2 weeks ago in the preseason. Just dominated the entire race, but it could not capitalize when late race cautions came out, and it just bit him easily, and he ended up losing the race because of it, finishing 2nd to Scott Formosa. So this is gonna be another big key for Robert, and this time he's gotta hope that there is no late race cautions that could end his race prematurely.
Lap 6 we're on already. Corbin Bulk is already on the back of Scott Formosa, and Corbin Bulk actually going to look to the inside of Scott Formosa as he come out of turn 2. Not quite close enough for Jonathan Smith. He's got to be careful. Jonathan Smith is right behind him. So we've got 2 separate packs forming here. The top 5 actually have pulled away. Alexander Pelican is now 1.1 seconds behind Jonathan Smith and is bringing Caleb Ramsey, Lewis Robinette and Zach Coyer with him. And then you've got Michael Whiting, Austin Victory. Remember, Austin Victory started in P5. He's already dropped back to P11 there, Tyler.
Yeah, just Austin just not having the best luck right now. I mean, he's got the car clean, but I think he just with his setup is it's not working for him. Maybe it's a better long run setup, but right now though, it just seems to be having a really big issue with that car right now.
Yeah, as it comes out of turn 2, still ahead of Taylor, so not so bad as Robert Barber has literally checked out now. The gap 1.1 seconds as we're going to go back to Corbin Bulk again. He's under pressure from Jonathan Smith here. And that battle for second place actually starting to bunch up here. And that's probably helping Robert Barber get away for the time being, but early running in the race yet. We're only on lap 9 of 100. Anything could happen between now and the next 90 laps.
Absolutely, and I mean it's going to be a big difference, and especially for Robert. He's just got to keep that pressure up, keep pulling away from these guys, let these guys battle behind, and he's just got to cross his fingers and just really hope that nothing happens again that could cost him this victory. Because I mean, he's showing that he should have won this race in the preseason battle they had. So the way he's running right now, it could really make a big difference.
Yeah, Corbin Bulk trying to look underneath Scott Formosa right now. Got a nose underneath him as they come out of turn 2. Still not quite close enough, and Formosa as well putting Preston Boers under pressure at the same time. As Bolt taking another look underneath again. And the wall, Preston Boers very close to the wall out of turn 4 there.
Yeah, that was really close. I mean, you really can't push it at times. If you push it too hard and scrape that wall, you're going to end up tearing that car up very easily, as we've seen in 2 weeks ago in the preseason. A lot of damage on some of those right fronts can really cost you speed. I mean, other than if you hit it lightly, you might get lucky like Scott Formosa did. So it's a hit and miss on whether or not that wall's going to be friendly to you or not.
Yeah, as Robert Barber is actually losing time now to Preston Boers, so tyres starting to come into play here. I wonder if Robert Barber's hit something. It doesn't look like he's got any damage on his car, so he looks okay.
Yeah, I think he's starting to realize his gap, and I think he's starting to save some of the tires because after I had a chance to talk to him after that race, as well as the previous race, he just burned up his tires too much, and he's trying to work on not burning up his tires too much. So I think he's right now letting the guys catch back up to him, and if he can keep it within about a second gap, I think he'll be okay, and he'll be decent in the long run on saving those tires. Because I think that's what he's trying to do, is save those tires for the end.
Just keeping an eye on this battle for 4th place. It's turned into a bit of an epic encounter between Jonathan Smith and Corbin Bulk. Smith has gone around Bulk, and now Bulk wants to get by him, and look who's right behind him now. Alexander Pelican has closed in on this battle as well and fancies a chance on getting past the number 4. Not quite going to do it right now, but Bulk looks like he might have burned his tyres off already, and he's starting to fall back into the clutches of the 25. And don't count out Caleb Ramsey. He's bringing Robinette and Koya with him as well. So things are starting to heat up in these little battles we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and great racing so far too. Everyone's been giving room, not being too cautious. Not being trying to rush up to the front. Everyone's being cautious, knowing that they're only got one set of tires, that they can't really push it that hard. So overall, good racing so far, and we're starting to see some separation on driver skill levels, showing which drivers are really good at the start, and then we might see later on who's good at the long run. So it's going to be really interesting to see as these laps wind by who's got the better car at the end.
Scott Formosa has passed Preston Boers into 2nd place now and has started to reel in Robert Barber. So Formosa was looking for that release, getting past the number 29, and now has set his sights on the leader. Not closing the gap as quick as he thought he would, but still just easily getting away from Preston Boers now. They're both pretty comfortably ahead of Jonathan Smith, who's managed to get away from Corbin Bulk and Alexander Pelican, as those two are still battling out for 5th spot right now. And yeah, I think they're just getting into that phase now where they're just settling down, trying to pick their runs now. We're already on lap 20, by the way, so this race ticking by very quickly.
Absolutely. 20 laps in, still got 80 to go, but these laps are winding quickly. 22 seconds roughly for these guys, so their laps have taken off.
Yeah, 20 seconds per lap, so definitely interesting running so far. We're looking at Zach Koya just running behind Caleb Ramsey, who's just been passed by Lewis Robinette, and Robinette has actually started to make his way forward as well. He started near the back of the field as well, and he's got a bit of making up to do. He's 1.4 seconds back, actually made that 1.3 seconds back from Alexander Pelican, who's still battling out with Corbin Bulk. So Robinette might actually fancy a chance of actually closing that gap now, whilst those are battling in front of him. Meanwhile, Scott Formosa has got the gap between himself and Robert Barber down to less than a second now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timing right now. Preston Boers is the quickest, just ran a 22.6. Everyone else is in the 22.8s. So it just already shows with getting the timing right with something with the cars and trying to save tires at a certain point and making decisions on when you want to push, when you don't want to push. It's showing really good right now. As Preston is about 1.5 seconds behind Robert, but with Preston running those 22.6 and low 22.7s, He's got a chance to catch up to Barber as well as Formosa, but it's going to be interesting, though, when he catches up to Formosa on whether or not he's going to have to really fight to get around Formosa.
Well, that last time round was a 22.8. Let's see what he can do this time round as Preston Bowles crosses the line. Another 22.8, and everybody just, the lap time's starting to curtail off ever so slightly. And Scott Formosa was the fastest that time around. Let's see what he can do this time. Is he going to be faster this time? You've got to expect, the more the tyres burn off, the more you can expect the times to get slower and slower here.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's going to be. That's where it's going to be really interesting to see how they play this out with trying to be conservative as best they can on the tires. Because if the more conservative they can be, like especially some of these guys further back, like Michael Whiting, Austin Victory, and Eddie Taylor. If I was them, I would start trying to save those tires as much as you can, because if there is a late race caution that comes out, if something happens, you might have an opportunity to try to get some positions back on the restart. So everything matters with tire wear, especially knowing you have one set of tires and you cannot change them.
Yeah, as we look at Michael Whiting now, he's about half a second back from Zach Coyer. Zach Coyer had a pretty impressive start, but has kind of hit a bit of a stalemate right now, just currently sitting in P9, not really making any difference on the gap between himself and Caleb Ramsey. And Caleb Ramsey not really doing anything either. Lewis Robinette is slowly reeling in Alexander Pelican, as Pelican has actually lost a lot of time on Corbin Bulk now, fallen to 0.8 of a second back from the number 4, and Bulk is actually starting to close in on Jonathan Smith again now.
Yeah, definitely, as we're starting to see the time starting to reach up in the 23s now, as the tire wear is starting to really kick into effect now, as we're almost 30 laps in right now, working on lap 29, and we're going to really start seeing these times starting to drop. But the question is going to be, is as these laps stick by, how much slower are they going to get? Because I'm going to be curious to see how much more life will be in these tires when the end of the race gets near.
Well, we're getting to that time now. We should see green flag pit stops in the next 10 to 20 laps, as Robert Barber has lost that big gap he had now. It's down to 0.2 of a second between himself and Scott Formosa. And Formosa now has caught up to the back of the 8 now. Does he fancy a chance of taking the lead, or is he going to try and make it work through the pit stops? That's the big question now.
If I was Formosa, since knowing that you're only going to be pitting for fuel, I tried to save a little bit of fuel. Stay behind him, save a little tire. Don't really try to push too hard. Where the line is Formosa's running right now is perfect. That's a good line, especially with these super late models, to save some tire, not pushing too hard. You can save a lot of fuel just hanging right behind Barber. And that's, if I was Scott, I'd wait until Barber makes a mistake before making my move. If it's like this right now, I'd just hang up on the high line and just save some tires. Don't be too aggressive. Just, you're in this draft, save a little bit of fuel as well. Maybe see if you can pit a lap or two later than Barber does.
It's a good job that Scott Formosa is running in yellow, actually, because he reminds me a bit of an iRacing version of Joey Logano. Very aggressive when he's trying to catch up to the back of someone, and when he does make the pass, he is very aggressive. And we're seeing that right here, right now, as he's already on the back of Robert Barber. Is he going to try and make a move here into turn 3?
Yes, he will.
Here we go.
Oh,
almost contact again as Robert Barber is going to survive that one. Great defensive move there by the 8.
Yeah, that could have been really disastrous. You could see him Barber coming out of turn 2. The rear got a little tail happy on him, so Formosa figured he had the best opportunity going into 3, trying to make a late move and seeing if it could stick. Almost stick, but it just didn't have enough room there. Barber almost scraped the wall up there, but that was a good opportunity though for Formosa to try to make an opportunity. Now he's back up on the high line, trying to see if he can make some more momentum again, and even try to save some fuel, as Preston is just waiting in the grass a second behind.
Yeah, as I'm actually looking at the best lap times right now, and the fastest lap of the race actually going to Corbin Bulk with a 22.427. Kind of surprising considering he's not even at the front right now.
No, but he has gotten up to 5th, and he's running about his last lap time. He was 0.2 of a second slower. However, Alexander Pelican's running it is the only driver that last time by running a 22.9. So it seems like Alexander Pelican's deciding he better try to make some of this gap back up. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does, as he just ran another 22.9 compared to everyone else running 23s.
Very consistent there for the 25 as he's chasing down Corbin Bulk for that 5th spot. And he's going to try and look underneath of the 4 right now as they come out of turn 4. Not quite going to get the job done yet, but he lost a lot of time to Bulk for a good period of time. Has managed to claw it back and is right on the back of Bulk now as they come out of turn 2. And Bulk's making that car as wide as possible because Pelican just can't find a way past him.
Yeah, with the way Pelican must have that car set up great for the nighttime run, because it just seems like it is sticking for him. Had a little issue there with that fight, but he still ran a quick lap time of 23.1, and that was even with fighting with Pelican. But it gave for most of the quickest laps. So everyone in the 23s, however, I'll have to keep an eye on Pelican, because man, he is making a hard charge right now.
Fastest driver on the track that time around was actually Scott Formosa, but this time around it's actually Robert Barber. That's the fastest on the track, and Barber starting to extend that lead again. He went through looks like he went through a period of tyre saving, and now has put his foot to the floor again. And that gap is getting bigger between himself and Formosa again now.
Absolutely. As we're getting almost near the halfway point, there should be there's an opportunity where there might be needing to do, well, I know they have to do a pit stop for like a quick splash of fuel. So it's going to be very interesting to see the timing of when these guys decide to pit, as they're right now working lap 42 of 100, almost at the halfway.
Preston Bourse starting to close in on the back of Scott Formosa now. Let's see what he can do. He's very close again to the wall coming out of turn 4. I'm not sure if that's his preferred line or if that's the way the car is pushing, as here comes Bourse now to try the inside line on Formosa. Not quite close enough as they come out of turn 2. Bourse is on the move now.
No, but a great battle as he's going to dive it on the inside, trying to make it stick. Used a little bit of that apron too. Thought he had a good run out of there. Just did not work. It seemed like that rear tire had a little bit of extra grip when he touched the apron, but it just did not work out for him. It just seemed like he lost a little bit of momentum when he was trying to get back on the throttle after touching the apron.
And Bourse tried it again, did not work out. I just noticed while we were watching that battle that Corbin Bulk and Alexander Pelican that battle's still raging on between the two. And they're still right behind Jonathan Smith as well, so that's a battle for now actually P4. So interesting there as Preston Bourse again looks to the inside. It seems like that Scott Formosa is faster in the straight line, but not so fast going through the corners.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's the way he's got it set up. He probably has more straight line speed. I mean, as we're looking at Formosa now, as he's coming down he's taking a little bit higher arc, but you can see the 29 of Preston Bourse just closing in on him in the corners. But then here we go, Formosa's pulling away on the straights. It's really odd what kind of setup Scott has, as Preston might have an opportunity here to take away second from Scott.
Yeah, and while this is happening, Robert Barber slowly starting to get away as we're going to go back to the battle for 4th place right now. Corbin Bulk looking underneath Jonathan Smith right now as they come out of turn 2. It's good to have different battles going on around the track. We're certainly getting that right now. We've got 2 different battles going on right now. One between Formosa and Preston Bourse, and we've got another one going on between these 3. 4th, 5th and 6th right now, as here comes Alexander Pelican to the inside of Corbin Bulk. Now he's alongside him as they come through turns 1 and 2. Gets a nose out in front for just a second and then backs out of it. Gets a bit of a wiggle coming down the backstretch as well.
Seems like he gets a really great run in 1 and 2, but just cannot capitalize in 3 and 4, which is weird. Oh boy, as Corbin Bulk almost scraped that outside wall there, but awesome battle with these 3 for 4.
Yeah, as Pelican has another look on the exit of turn 2, still not able to do it again. As Preston Bourse now looking to the inside of Scott Formosa now. Oh, big slide there from Bourse, and that's going to cost him time as we've got 3 wide going on between those two, we had almost 3 wide between Smith, Bulk, and Pelican. We don't know where to look right now.
Yeah, things are going crazy. As I'm seeing two Preston Boers and Formosa having a good run. Here goes Preston Boers on the inside, trying to make it work, and it's just not working for him yet. He may have the run, but here goes Scott again, better on the straight.
Yeah, really paying off for him there as Alexander Pelican also getting frustrated. He's pretty much in the same situation as Preston Boers, trying to get around Corbin Bulk, but not able to do it through the straight, through the corners. As here comes Bulk now to the inside of Smith. Is Bulk going to get the move done here? He's got a nose out in front of him. Corbin Bulk is going to move up to P4 here now.
Great move by Corbin Bulk. Just found the opportunity, was able to make it work. Now Pelican's like chomping at the bit now, knowing he wants to get around Smith. As here he goes on the aggressive side, trying to make it work, and it did not.
It did not pay off at all. So Bulk up to P4 now, but Jonathan Smith is not done with him yet. He's going to cross him over out of turn 4. Not quite going to get it done as across the line. We are on lap 53 of 100 now, and we are well past halfway. The big question now is, when are those pit stops coming, and who's going to do what? How much fuel you're going to take, and who's going to get back out in the lead?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what exactly happens, but man, it's going to be very close though to see when these guys decide to pit for fuel, because it's been really great so far.
As we're looking back at, we've got a battle actually for the lead now, as Robert Barber has been reeled in by these two, Scott Formosa and Preston Boers. And Formosa fancying a chance at taking the lead away from Robert Barber. And that's a good old rubber banding, that is. Barber able to get away for a few laps, and then Formosa and Preston Boers able to reel him in once again, as Formosa really looking to the back of Barber now as they come down across the line. Still not quite close enough to mount an attack, but definitely reeled him back in at this point here, Tyler.
Absolutely is. It's going to be, it is going to be a really interesting battle to see how this plays out, because Barber knows he's got Formosa and Boers, two really quick drivers right now, hunting him down, and he's got to figure out what he can do to try to save tires as much as he can, as well as try to defend.
Robert Barber, the fastest driver out on the track that time around. It's almost as if Robert Barber's kind of playing with them at the moment. He lets them catch up, and then once they get too close, he just absolutely bolts it and just leaves them all behind. Austin Victory is currently sitting last right now. Remember, he started P5. He's about to be lapped by this lead pack. So Victory not having a good race so far. And it looks like he's got quite considerable right side damage as well. So he's hit something along the way there, Tyler.
Absolutely. As Barber's starting to pull a 0.2 of a second. Lap times are a little quicker now. He was the quickest, 23.1. But you can see the times. Everyone's starting to drop in the 23.1s, 23.2s, and 23.3s. So it's really starting to show how these tires are falling off.
All right. As Barber extending his lead again. Scott Formosa still under pressure from Preston Boers. So back to the battle for 4th place as Corbin Bulk now under pressure from Jonathan Smith. Here comes Smith out of turn 4. Just can't get it done as Alexander Pelican hits the wall coming out of turn 4.
Oh man, Pelican just getting more and more frustrated, doing everything he can. Hopefully that damage is not going to be too rough on him, but man, it might hinder him a little bit, especially on that right front.
Yeah, as it looks like Austin Victory is going to bring it to pit road, so he's going to be the first driver to take a pit side. I'm guessing he's going to go in and try and get that damage fixed on the right side of his car. Amazing race we're seeing so far, no cautions whatsoever, and it's just been very clean racing as Robert Barber has extended his lead to 1.2 seconds again. I really think Barber is playing with him.
Preston is pitting.
So first pit stop of the night. Let's see if he changes tyres, shall we? I don't think he's going to be pitting, but hey, you never know. Some people might make some mistakes, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this. Let's see. as we're still watching Preston Bowes to see if he'll come in. As Robert Barber brings the pit side now.
Yeah, it's a very long pit road, so it's gonna be it's gonna be really key to have no mistakes on pit road.
And as predicted, no tires, just fuel there for Preston Bowes. Good for him, as here comes Robert Barber. Preston Bowes just leaving his pit box now as Robert Barber enters his pit box. As Corbin Balk now in pit road. We've got another one in pit road there. I believe that might be Zach Coyer. It is Zach Coyer, so Zach Coyer in pit road as well. As Austin Victory has been in pit road for a while now. It looks like his night might be done already, as there goes the 31.
He had a lot of right front damage, so I think it might have been a little bit. He's probably trying to repair it as best he can, but it might be too.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Tyler. Robert Barber has a pit road penalty, and he's pretty much thrown this race away now here, Tyler.
Really unfortunate there for Barber. Another race that he had an opportunity and has pretty much thrown it away now. So it's been it's now a two-man race between Preston and Scott, but Scott is still out there probably hoping for a caution, but you never know what to.
I'm pretty sure he's got to bring it down pit road soon. I mean, how much longer can you keep it out there for with fuel being the only factor around here? He's a lap ahead of Preston Bowes right now. And he's less than a second ahead of Jonathan Smith, actually. So Smith has actually started reeling in Formosa at this late stage.
Yeah, it's going to be, and I think it's possibly because of some of the lap traffic, especially Corbin Balk, as Scott is right up on Corbin Balk right now. So he sees the person that he's been chasing. So, or actually, no, that was Preston. So actually, the Corbin's another one that was chasing down for a while. So it could be a lot of question marks in the air now.
Yeah, as here comes Jonathan Smith now for a pass on Scott Formosa. This has pretty much come out of nowhere. And almost contact between the two. Jonathan Smith is on the attack now. Remember, neither of these two have made a pit stop, and Smith's going to take the lead here.
Wow, that's shocking seeing how much more speed Smith has. He's trying to now defend as much as he can. Very close. Now here comes Pelican now on the inside of Formosa.
Well, Pelican's in pit road.
As he's heading in the pit road now.
Oh, really got to slow it down now. That might be a penalty for Alexander Pelican. He had to slow it down very much at the last minute. So let's see if he actually does have to do a time penalty there, because that was very close coming to the line, as Jonathan Smith now already putting a big gap on Scott Formosa now. And next one behind him will be actually Caleb Ramsey bringing it pit side as well now. So it's only a matter of time before everybody else brings it in now, as Eddie Taylor's still on the lead lap. He's back in P6 now. Jonathan Smith, obviously still your leader after coming out of nowhere pretty much and taking the lead away from Scott Formosa. Formosa still out there in second place. Lewis Robinette is in third place now. Michael Whiting is in P4. So a lot of these guys that weren't really a factor in the early part of this race are getting some decent top 5 positions going now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this ends as well. I have a feeling I'm going to have to probably jump out in another few laps.
Okay, if you need to go, then you're fine.
Yeah, no worries. I'll have to keep an eye on the phone, because this is a really good race. So.
Very interesting race. Jonathan Smith's now extended his lead to nearly 2 seconds over Scott Formosa. The top 5 that are running right now still haven't been in pit road, as we're going to go and take a look at Robert Barber. Big heartbreak for him. Fastest driver on the track by miles, but unfortunately kind of thrown that thing away after having to take a pit road penalty there.
Absolutely, just really unfortunate there, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on the phone, because this is gonna be really excited to see. So hopefully I'm rooting for Formosa, so we'll see what happens.
I don't know, Jonathan Smith has really turned up the speed now in this late stage of the race. We're on lap 75 of 100 here. I'm just wondering where that speed came from all of a sudden, because he was miles behind Scott Formosa, and then when the pit stops began, he just came out of nowhere and just
I don't know either, but I'm gonna have to ask him that after the race when I on the phone when I get the chance. So, all right, I'm gonna have to jump out. So, at least thankfully, these laps are going by quick. So crossing fingers, and hopefully I don't do a broadcast jinx of a late race caution, because this has been a really awesome race so far.
All right, Tyler. Well, good having you in the booth, and hopefully we'll speak to you later.
Definitely, we'll see you next week.
See you later. Apologies for my Anyway, back to the racing as Jonathan Smith now out to a 3.6 second lead over Scott Formosa. I want to take a look at Scott Formosa's car, actually. Does he have any damage, or is he trying to conserve his tyres? That is what I want to know. No damage on the showing is number 80, so not really sure what is going on for Scott Formosa. But as we're about to start lap 80 of 100 here, we've got problems for Lewis Robinette. Managed to save it. Great save there for Robinette. So Robinette, good save for him, but lost the place to Michael Whiting here. And Jonathan Smith still extending his lead there, 4.6 seconds, and they still haven't been down pit road. I will add before I end up having another coughing fit. I do apologise. Great run for Jonathan Smith in these last stages of the race. Question is, will he bring it down pit road before this is over? Surely he's got to, as everybody else has bring down pit road. 84 laps on his tyres. As he comes out of turn 2, Jonathan Smith now to 5.6 seconds. Michael Whiting now on the back of Scott Formosa as they come out of turn 2. And can Whiting get around Formosa? He might get a shocking second place here. As almost gets it to the back of Formosa. As Lewis Robinette now brings it to pit road. And is this a scheduled stop? I believe it might be. It is. So, as Austin Vitry almost gets into the back of him. So, Robinette in pit road. Alexander Pelican has already got around Robinette, so Pelican up to P5 now. Jonathan Smith still your leader. With just under 15 laps to go. Make that 13 laps to go. to be exact. And Michael Whiting starting to close the gap on Scott Formosa again. As here he goes. Is he going to try and get a move done on him? The answer is not right now, but he's definitely getting closer. And here we go. There is your pass for second place now as Michael Whiting looking to the inside of Scott Formosa. Formosa's going to try and keep him wound up on the high side. On the exit of turn 2, Austin Victory, a bit of a twitch there coming down the backstretch. And Formosa able to hold on to second place for now. As here comes again, as Alexander Pelican made it his way around Michael Whiting there. Amazing strategies we're seeing here from the drivers tonight. Only 4 drivers left on the lead lap. Eddie Taylor is your last driver on that lead lap. Currently in a bit of a battle with Caleb Ramsey, who wants to get by him. As now we've got Jonathan Smith into pit road, and we've got a caution! Caution's out on track, and it's Zach Coyer. And it looks like Corbin Balk in trouble as well. And has Scott Formosa. Let's take a look and see what happened here. And, oh, bit of an incident there between these two. We're going to take a look at them. The Bulk on the outside, and Coyer just came on the track and into the side of Bulk. And to be fair, Zach Coyer doing the right thing and stopping on track there just to immediately apologetic to the number 4. So good sportsmanship there by Coyer. Now it seems that they have caught, well, Scott Formosa, Michael Whiting, Jonathan Smith, Eddie Taylor, Alexander Pelican, and Caleb Ramsey have caught Preston Bors, Lewis Robinette, Corbin Balk. Actually, Caleb Ramsey's a lap down, so interesting there. But Jonathan Smith has made his pit stop. He's on the freshest tyres out of everybody on track. Scott Formosa's back in the lead, but will he bring it to pit side? We are less than 10 laps to go. And I'm not sure why my overlay's not showing, but we're going to fix that in just a second. Once I've figured out life. Anyway, there we go. So with 8 laps to go, we are in a very interesting situation, it seems. And do Formosa, Whiting, and Taylor bring it down pit road? That's the question. On, well, that's what I'm asking anyway. So, we're just waiting for the lights to go off on the pace car here. We are just coming on the backstretch here on lap 95 of 100. We've got 6 laps left. 5 at the line. And we will have a shootout here in the last 5 or so laps. So, well, 4 laps, I believe. We're going to go back to green with 4 laps to go. And can Formosa hold on? He fell back and lost a lot of time. He actually lost the lead to Jonathan Smith when the pit stops began initially. As lights are off on the pace car, we are ready to go for this final part of this race, and Formosa is going to take this one as your leader. No lap traffic to the back, so Jonathan Smith is going to be mired in traffic on this restart. In fact, he's right at the back on the outside line, so he's going to be he's going to have to make up some ground here to get up to the leaders. But here we go, last couple of corners now, and we're going to get this thing going with 4 laps to go here at Iowa. And it's going to be Scott Formosa who will have control of the field for this final shootout here. There goes the pace car. And there goes Scott Formosa. We're back on the green once again. And remember, Formosa and Whiting on lighter fuel than everybody else, so that might work in their favour. No one has changed any tyres. And Formosa has already checked out, half a second up the road. Michael Whiting is in second place. Eddie Taylor in third place. And we've got a wreck behind there. We've got a big wreck, and Jonathan Smith is one of them. Jonathan Smith in a bit of a wreck there, and we're going to have green, white, checkered racing now. Jonathan Smith is one of the people that was leading this quite comfortably through the pit stops before he made a pit stop of his own. Let's take another look and see what happened here. It looked like Austin Victory getting into it there. Let's take a look at Austin Victory. And Austin Victory got tagged. It looks like he got tagged by Preston Bores. And it just snowballed from there. And unfortunately, Robert Barber got involved in that as well. So big, big trouble there for these guys as Victory having the night from hell here tonight. So we try again, unfortunately, as Scott Formosa held on to his lead and actually extended his lead through that one. Thankfully for Jonathan Smith, he's a lap ahead of Caleb Ramsey. I don't believe there's any lucky dogs on this. Is that? There is, I think. No, there isn't. Interesting. Oh, there is. There he goes. Caleb Ramsey back on the lead lap. Robert Barber into pit road again to get some damage repaired. And actually, he made a pass through pit road. Austin Victory stuck in pit road. And I gotta think it was it Preston Bores that got into him? I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna go back, and I know this is going back quite far, so bear with me. Take a look, Austin Victory to the outside. Oh, no, that was Caleb Ramsey checking up. And it was Preston Bores that got into the back of him. You see it right there. Oh, that was a scary situation, but Preston Bores is credited with causing the caution. And he will have to do a pass through pit road. He's actually doing a stop and go. will fall to the back of the field. He's changing tyres, incidentally. That's a interesting one. Not sure if that's allowed, but he's going to do it anyway. So, someone breaking the rules anyway. So, here we go for this last part of this race now. Hopefully we've got green, white checkers underway anyway. So, lights should go off this time by. And they do not, so that's just made a liar out of me, as Jonathan Smith is going to bring a pit side now as well. Let's actually see how much damage he's got on that car, because, oh, yeah, that's pretty hefty damage on that. Number 23. As he is getting tyres changed as well. Coming back out of pit road there, Scott Formosa. He's only got to do 2 more laps and he's got the race win here. Michael Whiting looking good for a second place. Watch for Alexander Pelican though. He's going to be the man on the move here for this one. Same for Caleb Ramsey. And Caleb Ramsey, as much as he likes to admit that he's not a late model person, he's more attributed to dirt, as he's the reigning dirt street stock champion. Would love to get a good finish here tonight. He's currently sitting P6 and he's going to be starting behind Jonathan Smith. Interesting. And so here we go, lights are off on the pace car. Pace car will be going off into pit road any second now, after this backstretch of course. There we go, into turn 3. And pace car will make the left turn into pit road right about now. And Scott Formosa has control of the field. Green, white checkers are underway here as the shootout begins for this final part of the race. And there's already, as I already mentioned, watch for Alexander Pelican already making the 3 wide to the outside of both Eddie Taylor and Michael Whiting. Is he going to get the move done? He's already dispatched Whiting. Here he comes to the outside of Taylor and gets the move done. Now he's going to try and make a move on Scott Formosa. As they come out of turn 4, white flag in the air for the final part of this race. As they go flying into turn 1, can Pelican get to the back of Formosa before it's too late as they come down the backstretch now? And Pelican's into the wall, so that's going to give Formosa a big lead going into turn 3 now. And it's going to be too little, too late for Alexander Pelican as Scott Formosa comes out of turn 4 and wins at Iowa. Alexander Pelican will come in second and Eddie Taylor will get a fantastic 3rd place here. Great result for him. So the night belonging to Scott Formosa here at the end of this one, and Michael Whiting giving Formosa a bit of a push there. I believe Formosa was out of fuel. He was out of fuel. So that is going to do it for us here at Iowa with the All Out Esports League. And that is your winner right there, as we're going to go to the results of tonight's race. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do any interviews tonight because I do have a chest infection. I need to rest my voice here, and you've probably heard from the amount of coughing I've been doing tonight that, yeah, I'm kind of struggling here tonight. So I apologize, and hopefully I'll be a bit better next week. But for now, let's go for the results of this race, as it was Scott Formosa bringing home the victory for this one. Alexander Pelican finishes second, got really close near the end there, but hit the wall on the exit of turn 2 and gave Scott Formosa that big lead coming into the final 2 corners. Eddie Taylor crosses the line for a fantastic 3rd place. I believe that's his best finish of his career here in All Out Esports. Michael Whiting in P4, and Caleb Ramsey gets away with the top 5 here. Jonathan Smith in P6. Lewis Robinette will be in P7, first driver a lap down. Zach Coyer in P8, Corbin Bulk in P9, Robert Barber P10, Preston Balls in P11, and Austin Victory in P12. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight here on ESPN. Great racing here on the short tracks here with the Super Late Models. Thank you to Tyler Vickery, who joined me in the booth for the early part of this race, as I've been trying to do my best in the booth here for this one. But great racing all around. Look ahead on the schedule tonight. You can actually see Adam in the booth. I believe he's just finished up with the Red Sox Racing League. But if you jump over to Facebook, you can join him in the booth there for the Strictly Street Stock Series as they begin their new season at Lucas Oil. Saturday we have NASCAR online as they go to Las Vegas for the second round of the series. I forgot about Friday, where on Friday you can join Adam in the booth for the iRacing E Series as they continue the Super Speedway League series. Sunday you can join me in the booth for Sim Racing Authority as they head to Talladega for the first round of their playoffs, and then straight after that you can join me in the booth as the Top Fuel Racing League head to Lucas Oil again in the Winter Light Series, and then Monday we're back with Paskies as they head to, bear with me, as they head to Darlington for the their Cup throwback event. It's not going to be Cup cars, it's going to be Cup schemes on the trucks, so going to be interesting for that one. Tuesday we are off, and then Wednesday we're back with Top Fuel Racing, and we're not back with Top Fuel Racing as they are off that week, and then Thursday we are back with All Out Esports for their 3rd round. But for now, that is going to do it for me in the booth. My name has been Sam Cooper Bennett. I was joined earlier by Tyler Vickery. This has been ESPN, and all that's left for me to say is keep it clean, keep it green, and we will see you on see you on the other side on Facebook with Adam Chapman in the booth with the Strictly Street Stock Series. Have a good night.